закончила я лечебный факультет по специальности общая хирургия. То есть должна была быть общая.
I have graduated from medical faculty with a major in general surgery. This means that I was supposed to be a general surgeon, operate and remove appendicitis, cholecystitis, and hernia. By a curious twist of fate, my first place of work was an oncological clinic. That's why there was a necessity to undergo special training in oncology, and that's how I remained in this profession. Further, I've acquired a more narrow specialty, breast oncology. Sonologists should be women, since only woman is fully capable of understanding the importance and her closeness to this problem. Let's make an example. I'm an operating surgeon, and when I operate, aesthetics is extremely important to me. Many see our breasts as annexal organ, accessories to a woman's organism, which just gives it a certain charm. It's either an advantage or disadvantage. Truth be told, I believe breasts have their own function in an organism, and they are as important as any other organ.
По мне, так это вообще самый такой естественный процесс, который, в принципе, если там все идет как положено и как надо, в принципе...
As for me, breastfeeding is the most natural process, and if everything is done up to scratch, there shouldn't be any problem.
Когда женщина туда начинает сама вмешиваться.
According to my observations, the issues start when a woman interrupts natural processes. There is a belief that not all women are able to breastfeed their children. If we take all women, there is only 10% of them who can breastfeed, but they have serious reasons for this.
10% женщин, которые действительно не могут вскармливать, но на то у них есть серьезные причины.
The first and foremost rule is to breastfeed upon the demand of a child. We ought to feed the baby every time he requires. The common mistake mothers usually make is express milk either beforehand to prepare the breasts afterwards because they think there's still plenty of milk left, or in the middle of the process. In fact, it's not required. There are certain situations when expressing breast milk is needed. But our women use it without medical reasons. The basic rule says the more breast milk you express, the more milk the child consumes. Consequently, the more milk is produced.
То есть, естественно, чем больше ребенок сосет, либо чем больше мы сцеживаем, тем больше молока нового вырабатывается.
Очень большая проблема, к сожалению, у нас у молодых
Mastitis is an alarming problem of young breastfeeding mothers. This leads to the inflammation of breasts, and in the majority of cases, as for today, the only way of healing in Kazakhstan is an operation that eventually leaves a scar. Researching this issue is sonology. Dana has made her personal contribution, therefore reducing the percentage of young women's mastitis.
вклад только в то, что намного меньше процент развития маститов у молодых женщин.
Очень большой миф, да, идет по...
A very big myth exists around the diet of a breastfeeding mother. The research has proven that breastfeeding mothers first of all must eat healthily, because women receive all useful microelements through food. This way, mothers supply children with these elements. Nutritional habits begin in a maternity home, where, for instance, only buckwheat or lean soup are served. This all starts in the hospital and continues when women come home. Their mothers and grandmothers give them tea with milk, and the food ration doesn't expand more than that. A poor woman entering the third month of breastfeeding, not getting enough sleep and not eating healthy food, just comes to me and says, "I would like to stop breastfeeding." When I start explaining how important her nutrition is and that the child's abdominal pain isn't connected with the fact that she has had an apple, women solve their problems. There are so many myths around benign breast diseases. Many young women have a wrong impression of what is normal and where the pathology begins. So pain is a normal, and I talk about this very frequently.
Многие девушки не знают все-таки, где та граница нормы и где уже начинается патология.
Healthy organs must not hurt, and as breasts are an organ, as I've mentioned earlier, they mustn't hurt as well.
Он не должен болеть. И молочные железы – это такой же орган, как я ранее говорила, он тоже не должен болеть.
Yes, certain changes might occur because our breasts are highly dependent on hormones, transform with organism. The breasts also experience some changes, but women shouldn't feel this. Technically, pain is a point that must cause a woman to seek medical care. When breasts grow, some sickliness can take place, and this is normal. One more case is natural discomfort and painfulness, which indicates the first trimester of pregnancy. The problem of oncology, including the breast disease, as of today in Kazakhstan remains a sensitive issue. This type of cancer is highly prevalent. Up to 20% of women death rate from oncological illnesses is connected with breast cancer.
Связано у женщин именно с раком молочных желез.
Раньше думали, что все-таки рак молочной железы он один.
It was previously considered that breast cancer is one general illness, but after the research was conducted, it appeared that there are several types of cancer and every type has a subtype. Hence, each subtype needs a unique approach during its treatment. Technically, when I started practicing sonology in an oncological hospital, it was clearly seen that the earlier the cancer was discovered, the earlier women left the hospital. Unfortunately, the later the woman seeks help, the more extensive the stage of disease, the sadder it all ends up.
Чем позже запущенная стадия, как это печально все потом заканчивалось.
Unfortunately, my mother left this world early at 32, leaving 2 children. I lost my close people because of this disease, breast cancer. But at the same time, we have quite a happy family story. Early diagnostics can actually prevent and defeat cancer. At that time, when my mom was struggling from severe form of cancer with metastasis, her sister informed my mother that she has a small deformation in her breast. Hearing this, mom recommended her seeing a doctor as soon as possible. My aunt completed treatment, received an operation, and that's how we prevented one more case in our family, which had happened to my mother. I noticed a very good tendency. Now women seek medical assistance on time. If about 5 years ago there was a lot of neglected cases, those women would come mainly from countryside, not from cities. Personally, I do medical checkups every month. It's just my rule, already a habit. I also monitor my family's health. We actually have a tradition. When I visit someone, we gather and form a warm circle where I conduct medical examinations. Doctors always told me that it's crucial to get married, essential to give birth, and compulsory to breastfeed your children, because breasts aren't given us for the beauty. Taking into account my hereditary background, I constantly keep in close touch with doctors. This means I always go through screening at least once a year. While working in oncology clinics, unfortunately, I had to see very young patients. One very young client, and still remember this case, 28-year-old girl who unfortunately didn't give birth and wasn't married. The situation required full surgical removal of breasts or mastectomy. Now, thank God, the ways of healing and managing young patients have changed. As for today, mammoplasty is done instantaneously only if the situation requires this. Or breast-conserving surgery, that is to say, such harming operations aren't conducted these days. That's why there is not much to be scared about anymore. In order to have a balanced lifestyle, we wash our bodies, follow hygiene practices, take vitamins, and do sports. I think that visiting doctors must be perceived as an equal pursuit to all above-mentioned activities. Because for any girls, young ladies, and elderly women, it is a daily duty that you must fulfill. Just like face cleaning, toothbrushing, so should preventive health care be on that list. Why do we see a doctor only after something starts to hurt? I have my own Instagram page where I manage my posts. This started in 2015. Basically, I began writing about such topics as how to choose brasiers properly and how to conduct breast self-examination. Surely, I realized that I needed to write clearly in a simple and comprehensible way so that any woman, regardless of her occupation or social status, would understand me and access this information freely. Donna showed me a different perspective on Instagram because this is primarily a channel you need to use, and the main thing is that it gives everything our women need. This isn't just an advertisement, it is information explained in a simple manner, which can be spread widely in a short period of time, and it reaches its target audience, our women, quickly and effectively. Of course, it takes time. It's not easy to write a post. It also needs to be translated for medical slang, understandable language. That's what I've started doing, and the demand occurred.
I'm going to tell you that it's effective. I reckon it works.
Despite the effort of our doctors calling over phone and inviting people for checkups, it's not as effective as informing through social media about medical screening. Please come. Doctors care about you as well as the government. These programs really work. I understood that I became successful when people from Instagram started coming and there were more and more people each time. I felt success when people formed queues and we organized the registration process. Whenever I go on business trips, say to Shymkent, it's always 5 working days, Monday to Friday. During these 5 working days, I've had a record of seeing 168 clients. So roughly speaking, this is a monthly rate. In the evening, I have a new post published. 2 hours later, I visit Instagram again, because in the meantime, numerous questions have piled up, so I answer all the questions below the post and in the direct messages. My message to the public is connected with the preventative care, from breast cancer mainly, and I began informing people about it. Then women started caring more of their health condition, came to seek medical help, and gradually their interests have been raised. These days I work on the blog slowly on my own. It includes posting photos, composing and correcting text. Daily, on a regular basis, I receive 30 personal messages plus 50 questions below the post. My work is rewarding because I see the results of my patients.
Now I have 68,000 followers on Instagram. It's interesting that if I didn't post a story for a while, people become worried and text me making sure I'm okay, or they lose connection with me if I'm not so active on social media.
Surely, deep inside, I understand I'm not a god, and it's not in my power to heal everyone. I have my dialogues in my mind, constant discussions. You must never stop learning, certainly. Looking backwards, I realized that yesterday I did something in a certain way because of not knowing what I know today. Before deciding anything, especially regarding my patients, I weighed all pros and cons inside my mind and asked for the advice of colleagues if necessary. Every night going to bed, I always pray to God, and when I have difficult situations or critically ill patients, I pray for them.